Say these 6 words and get anything you want. I mean, a new relationship, a better relationship, a new car, a new home, a dream vacation, more money in your bank account, whatever you desire. But you must say these 6 words every morning. Hi, everyone. Robert Zink, miracle mentor and alchemy success coach. And today we are soaring high like a big, beautiful eagle, and we are always flying in the direction of your dreams and goals. High flyers, thank you for subscribing. And remember to click the bell icon because we're here all the time with new videos to empower your life with the law of attraction. So, I want to talk about these 6 words today, and they're extremely important. I get questions all the time. Robert, what is it that you do that puts you in a positive frame, puts you in a mindset for achievement, puts you in a mindset for magnetism and attracting? And it's these 6 words. I use them religiously every single morning. Now, high flyers, science and medicine teach us that the brain primarily thinks negatively. And this probably evolved over a period of time because people who thought positively back in prehistoric times would walk off a cliff, or they'd go pet a saber-toothed tiger or something like that. So you had to think negatively in order to survive. And a certain amount of negative thinking actually serves you. You know, when you're faced with a dangerous situation, it's important to have some negative thinking involved in your thinking process. But negative thinking today, it really doesn't serve us, especially in the area of relationships, of attracting the one that we want into our life, of building a business, personal success, happiness, whatever it is you desire. It really doesn't serve you. It actually holds you back. And so most people are plagued by negative thoughts that hold them back from what they deeply desire, from their deepest desires and goals. So think about it this way. You know, when we sleep at night, we sleep in a rhythm. We don't just sleep, we just don't go down into deep sleep. We go into deep sleep and then we come up into sleep, then we go down into deep sleep, then we come up into sleep. And the reason for that, again, is that the brain was trained early on in our inception as we evolved to not sleep too deep. Okay. Because if you were sleeping too deep, you might get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. So you had to come up, and be aware of what was going on in your environment throughout the night. Or even worse than getting eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, you might let the fire go out. And that would be a real bitch in starting it again. So you get the idea. Our brains are designed to think negatively, but you have a period, you have a window in the morning of 10 minutes where you are waking up and you're still in a deeper state of consciousness. During that window, you can reprogram your brain to think positively throughout the day. In other words, instead of allowing your natural thinking process, which is negative, to take control of the day, you can change that instantly. And that immediately changes your manifestation potential. You literally become a conscious creator at that moment. So, with this in mind, high flyers, let me tell you a brief story. I have shared this story before years ago, but I'm going to share it again because it's worth repeating, and many of you have not heard this story. So, years ago in the state of Wisconsin, I had a little shop that I was managing, and we did, we did some counseling, we did some hypnosis work, we had some crystals, we had some candles. It was a nice little shop where people could come in the daytime. They could get out of the cold, they could have a little bit of tea, and they could look at the crystals or the candles. And sometimes they could get a little bit of advice or sign up for some hypnosis classes. We did some Qigong classes and other classes as well. One night I was closing the shop down. It was a winter night. It was a cold night. I'll never forget that. And I was in the shop by myself, and I had stayed open about a half hour later than normal, but I was closing the shop. And just as I was literally walking over to the front door to lock it up, and a guy walked in. And he looked rather scary. He had some cuts, some fresh cuts that were, maybe 4 or 5 days old. You know how they look? They're kind of scabbed over a little bit, but they're bruised. And I said, "Can I help you? We're getting ready to close." And he said, "I just need to talk to you right now. I've heard about you. I need to talk to you. I've heard you've helped other people. Can you help me?" And I said, "Well, let's go sit down. Let's have a cup of coffee. Find out what it is that's troubling you." He says, "Well, Robert, I got in a bar fight and they threw me in jail. And now I'm out, and I'm going to be going to trial, and they're looking at putting me in prison. And I've lost my job. I'm homeless. I'm living on the streets or in the public shelters. And it's cold outside. And I have very little money left on me, maybe $5, $10. So I can't pay you anything." And he says, "Is there just something you can do for me, or something you can give me that will get me out of this mess?" And I said, "Well, let's see what I have." We sat down, and I held his hands, and I felt his energy field. And I said, "Look, you're not going to jail. They may be threatening you with that, but trust me, you don't need to come up with a specialized attorney. Your public defender is fine. You're not going to jail." Now, I don't know how I knew that, but I just absolutely knew it in my soul. But that didn't solve the multitude of other problems he had. He had no vehicle. He had no job. He had no place to live. He had no food. He had nothing. And I took out a piece of paper and something like this. It was, I think, matter of fact, I think it was a sticky note. Took out a piece of paper and I wrote something down on it. And I wrote it down and I said, "Look, if you will say these words every morning, and every time you start to feel nervous about your life, and every time you feel scared, and every time you feel doubtful about having the life that you desire, if you will say these words, your life will change. It will get better." It's important to say them in the morning, whether you're waking up on a park bench or whether you're waking up at the Ritz-Carlton. It doesn't make a difference. Say them every morning. Now, I want to let you know, high flyers, that I say these words every single morning. I haven't always said them. As a matter of fact, I didn't say them when I advised them. It was only when I saw what happened to this man's life that I began saying the words myself. These words are extremely powerful. So he walked out of the store and I didn't see him again. And about, I want to say a year, but it could have been 9 months. It could have been 13 or 14 months went by. And I was leaving the store one night. Again, it was wintertime. There was snow on the ground. It was dark outside. And there was this nice new Chevy truck parked out with the engine running. And as I walked out, I was getting ready to walk home. Guy got out of the truck, and I thought, "Oh, this could be trouble." And because he seemed like almost excited, but you could almost read it as aggressive if you didn't know. And I didn't recognize him at first. And he got out of the truck and he put his arms around me. And I'm going, okay. Uh, and he says, I want to thank you. He says, this is my new truck, Robert. This is my new truck. It was a beautiful Chevy pickup. It wasn't brand new, but it was like a year or two old. And he said, since that night with you, my whole life has changed. I've used those 6 words every single day of my life. And he reached into his pocket. He had a pocket like this, and he reached into his pocket, and there was this old tattered piece of paper where I had written those 6 words. And he pulled it out. He says, I keep this with me everywhere. And it looked like it was almost ready to dissolve. I mean, he'd had it with him in the rain, the snow, everywhere. He said, first off, I never went to jail. You were absolutely right about that. And he said, secondly, I got a good job. And I'm very, very excited. And he said, shortly after getting the job, I met this beautiful woman. And we bought a house together. And we own a beautiful house together. And I'm happier than I've ever been in my life. And I don't go into bars anymore. And I don't get into fights anymore. And I have money in my bank account. I have everything. Now think about it. He had everything most people desire. He had freedom. He had money. He had opportunity. And he had a committed, loving relationship. He said, I have said those 6 words every single morning and every day of my life. And he says, I've shared them with others, and others have gotten better, and their lives have changed. I said, wow. So I'm going to give you the words right now. I want you to write them down on a little piece of paper, like so. Just write them on a paper, and I want you to carry them with you in your wallet or your pocket, but carry them with you and have another set by your bed. So you say them when you get out of bed or before you get out of bed, the first 10 minutes of the morning, because that's when you're most open. Are you ready? Here they are. Good things are coming my way. Good things are coming my way. If you will say those 6 words every morning, you will shift your brain from being primarily negative to positive. And you will put yourself in an attraction mode where you literally start attracting good things in your life, opportunities, relationships, money, happiness, health. Now, don't underestimate this. I've seen it change lives. It's changed my life drastically. It's changed countless other lives. It will change your life. First 10 minutes of the morning, and then anytime you need it throughout the day. Good things are coming my way. Here's some other videos to help you on your journey.